Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 200th episode of Reaction and Review. Man, that just feels so fucking weird, man. 200th episode. I'm not going to dwell on that much, otherwise I'll be here all fucking day. Anyway, guys, tonight's episode was chosen by my viewers, by you guys. When I asked you what you wanted to see for episode 200, a lot of you sounded off, and this thing won soundly over its other three competitors, pulling in 605 votes. Tonight's movie is the 2011 horror film, The Human Centipede 2, full sequence. Now, for those of you who are catching my channel for the very first time, you're watching my stuff here for the very first time, I have reviewed the first Human Centipede film, and I flat out despised it. So much so that I said I was never going to review this thing. However, in honor of the fact that my series hit this landmark, I decided to put it in amongst the voting, assuming it was probably going to win, and you guys did not disappoint me on that. So, about the only thing I know about this is that the writer and director of this film, who also did the first one, his name is Tom Six, claimed that this film was going to make the first one look like My Little Pony in terms of graphic and disturbing content. Now, since the first Human Centipede film was about as disturbing as a YouTube video of a kitten playing with a ball of yarn, to honestly say that this thing is going to be worse is not saying much. But I am not really expecting it to be sick. I'm not expecting it to be disturbing. I'm not expecting it to be graphic, because I know fucking well none of that shit is going to happen here. The only thing I want, and I doubt is going to come from this, is I want it to at least be interesting. I want it to at least be entertaining. I want to be engaged. And I don't believe this movie is going to engage me in any way, shape, or form, but I'm still holding out that little bit of optimism that maybe Tom, Six will have something good here, and he will then have vindicated himself for the bullshit he shoveled out with the first Human Centipede film. But the only way I'm going to find out is if I shut the fuck up and I push play. And believe me, guys, I'm really stalling. I don't want to watch this, but I have to. Let's just get this over and done with. So, without further ado, it's time to kick back, relax, and check out the Human Centipede 2 full sequence. Okay, I am really surprised that neither of them noticed that he walked up to them with a gun at his side. And since this movie is set in the real world as opposed to the fictional world of the first film, you'd think maybe logic would play a little bit of a larger role in this thing. But apparently no. These two people in this parking, garage are retards who cannot tell when a fat, balding midget walks up to them with a gun clearly fucking drawn. We are not off to a real good start, guys. Okay. Never really thought I'd get to see a movie where somebody feeds what looked to be like a grub or something to a fucking centipede, and then watch the centipede kind of eat it. I mean, that is at least sort of cool. I just sort of wish that everything else in this movie were better, but hell, at least that's baby steps towards something decent, I guess. Okay. Now, the first time that he was taking, victims in this fucking, car park, it kind of made sense for him to be that brazen because there were no other cars you could see. Here, there are cars everywhere. And so he's going to, possibly kill, he's going to possibly kill these people unless he's collecting more parts for his fucking centipede. And he's not going to worry in the slightest about people walking in and finding him. Is he just, is he just that thoughtless, or does he see possible witnesses as even more parts he can add to this fucking centipede? I understand the character is mentally special, but I really think that even somebody who's mentally special would at least have thought that kind of shit through, you know? Well, guys, I believe I can safely say I've never seen a head that absolutely mutilated in any movie ever. In fact, that was a really awesome looking effect. Again, I just kind of wish that it was in a better movie, because the writing here is killing every positive I'm finding, guys. Okay, I never really thought I'd get to see him physically hammer the teeth out of a guy's mouth, but Jesus Christ, that is genuinely disgusting. In fact, this so far is the only disgusting thing I've seen in this entire movie so far, and good God, that was nasty as shit. Well, folks, here it is, the huge payoff. We get to see Martin's own personal centipede constructed with human beings, duct tape and staples, and still kind of sucks. I'm still not shocked. Okay, now, he does understand that ripping out her tongue is not, well, shouldn't stop her from screaming, right? You can have no tongue and still scream. Yet that seemed to be his fix. And for the love of God, it apparently worked. I had no idea that your screaming was fucking controlled entirely over whether or not you had a fucking tongue. You learn something new every day, guys. Okay, never really thought I'd see that. I really never thought I'd see a baby's head, crushed. That was new. A little bit sick. It really, wasn't shocking, just kind of sick. But goddamn, I really was not expecting that at all. I'm actually kind of surprised. Well, folks, that was the Human Centipede 2 full sequence, and really happy this fucking thing's done. Let me shut that shit off. Okay. Before I rip this film to pieces, and oh my God, it totally deserves to be ripped to pieces, I do want to get the positive elements out of the way, because this film did have some really good positive elements to it. First of all, in terms of just technical elements, guys, I'm talking about blocking and camera work, lighting, all of that is fantastic. In fact, it really is almost a pity that all of that, which builds a fantastic atmosphere for this film, is wasted on something that is this poorly written and poorly acted. Okay, I mean, guys, you couldn't ask for a better atmosphere built entirely out of the camera work, the blocking, the lighting, all of that. And then it's all sort of wasted because the story is that bad. Now, I understand I just said that the acting sucks. There is one actor who comes out and really just shines, and that's the film's star, the man who plays Martin. It's probably because he doesn't have to work with any dialogue. He just has to stand there and he has to look creepy. And the fact that he looks like the love child of Alfred Hitchcock and Peter fucking, Lorre really helps out with that, alright? It helps out in spades. So, yeah, he is able to completely nail just looking incredibly creepy. So that works. He also has to cry a couple of times. He has to, laugh. He has to laugh a couple of times. And he has to look menacing. Well, again, when you look that fucking creepy, you basically just have to look into the camera and you already look kind of menacing. So all of that worked. He nailed all of that. I really wish that the rest of the cast knew how to fucking act, but I'm not going to blame them entirely. Now let's talk about the negatives, and let's start with the biggest one, the fucking writing. Allow me, guys, to give you a condensed version of this film's story. Martin, who works in a parking garage, is absolutely obsessed with the movie The Human Centipede. Yes, guys, this sequel is going a little bit meta. It is set in the real world where The Human Centipede is a work of fiction. He watches this goddamn movie multiple times every night at work, apparently, and he has a fucking book which is full of diagrams and photos and everything from the movie and shots of one actor. And she played the middle segment of the centipede in the first film. She actually shows up later on as, herself. Apparently, his dream is to make a real human centipede much longer than what was in the film. He wants to shoot for a 12-person centipede. Okay. And with the magic of duct tape and a staple and a fucking staple gun, he does. But, of course, all of that is in the final third of the film. Him finally putting his, creation together. No. The rest of it is him collecting all of the various people. Amongst them are things such as the actress who played the middle, centipede, and this woman who's pregnant, and this fucking, and her, I believe, husband, I think was, or her boyfriend, I'm not totally sure which, is part of this. It's like, none of them have any real depth or build-up or anything else, except for one of them, who was Martin's upstairs neighbor, who's a complete douchebag. That's really the only one part of the centipede that has any kind of build-up, that has any kind of depth. Now, mind you, I mentioned when I covered the first one how absolutely shallow all three of our victims were. Imagine it now when even the one part of this centipede who has any level of depth is less fucking developed than they are. Now we're starting to run into the problems here. Nobody here has any real personality except for Martin, Martin's mother, and Martin's doctor. I'm not sure if he's just his general doctor or if he's his psychiatrist or his psychologist. I don't know, and they never really specify. And even then, guys, it basically is, we have Martin who gets the most depth. He is absolutely fascinated with this film. He was raped numerous times as a child by his father. His mother hates him for that. She blames him for his father going to jail, even though it's his father's fault for not keeping it in his fucking pants. That too. His mom is just fucking, suicidal, and if she blames that on Martin, she probably blames every other problem in her life on him. In fact, at one point, she goes and she pisses off the upstairs neighbor, blames it on him. So, yeah, there really is no other depth here for any other character except for Martin. Martin is the only one who gets any real build-up, and he's the only character you are going to find yourself even slightly caring about. And it's funny because he doesn't have to say a thing for you to care about him. That actually is how good that actor was. Now, while I'm on the subject of Martin, the character also has asthma. Really bad asthma. Do you want to know how bad? Okay, guys. I have known people who have asthma, who have very severe asthma, who need to have their fucking inhaler with them at all times. And they do not need to go to it as much as he does. Guys, in this film, Martin is seen doing some real basic shit, including stuff such as picking up a fucking pen. Immediately he goes into a coughing fit and he has to go right to his fucking, inhaler. And yet then later on he's dragging around presumably dead bodies without any problems at all. He does not have to reach for it, even though that's something which probably a person who actually has asthma would have difficulty doing without needing to go to their fucking inhaler at least once. Which tells me that it's probably a little bit more, psychological asthma. It's not actually a physical ailment. It's just something that's in his head. Again, though, that's just me reading way too deep in a film that's basically as deep as a fucking piss puddle. I would like to say, I talked earlier about this film's style, about this film's stylistic choice and how it's very, very atmospheric. Most of that is because it's shot in black and white, and that actually makes everything feel really, really ominous. It would if that fucking illusion wasn't absolutely destroyed towards the end when Martin is giving laxatives to every segment of the centipede so that way each part is able to feed the next. And for whatever reason, almost all of the shit which is, like leaking out of their staple holes was digitally colored in brown. A couple of them were colored in like a reddish brown. But still, they digitally colored in shit, but they didn't fucking bother to digitally color in anything else. Which to me might have, sparked a little bit more of like a stylistic thing. But no, because they opted to color in the shit and nothing else, it stands out real bad, and it absolutely destroys the atmosphere that this film was building. Which means that even, guys, on a technical level, this movie fucks itself over so badly. Oh my god. So guys, we have writing here which is just fucking criminal, which of course leads to actors who cannot give the kind of performance which they should be able to give. Excuse me. Why? Because when you're given a script that is this shallow and this absolutely shitty, you cannot be expected to weave fucking miracles with it, which again I think is why the actor who played, Martin came out fucking best, because he didn't have any of this fucking inane bullshit dialogue to work with, and he actually had some level of depth put in. Now, the writer and director of this film, his name is Tom Six. I mentioned this earlier, I do believe. He said that this film was going to make the first one look like My Little Pony in terms of shocking and disturbing shit. Well, this one still isn't shocking. Mind you, it does have a couple of scenes which are going to make you cringe, a little bit, and that they might, like creep you out or, like gross you out a little bit. But there's nothing there which is going to genuinely shock you. Okay, and Tom Six is now trying to get funds for a third film in this shitty goddamn series, and he's going to claim that the third one is going to make this thing look like a fucking Disney film. Well, dude, guess what? You have fucking attempted twice to make a shocking movie, and you failed miserably both goddamn times. You have shown me twice now that you know how to make a good movie on a technical level. Could you please find a fucking writer who can actually write you a script that's good? And can you please abandon this goddamn fucking like centipede gimmick for something good? Jesus Christ, dude. You seriously are wasting... You are wasting your talents on this, Tom. I'm going to say that right now in the off chance you actually catch this thing. You are wasting your talents making fucking Human Centipede movies when you have shown the talent, again, on a technical level, to make good movies, actual entertaining and atmospheric films. Why the fuck can't you find a writer to give you something good to work with? Yeah, guys, this film, can I possibly recommend it? No, because guys, no matter how much I praise this film's technical elements, no matter how much I praise the blocking and the lighting and the angles and just the sheer look of it all, I could also point out a dozen other movies which do the very same thing and actually have decent fucking writing on top of all of that. So no, there is no reason for you to watch this, and frankly after watching it, I'm really kind of sorry I bothered watching it. Now, before anyone asks if I'm going to waste the time on the third one, if and when Tom Six decides to shit that goddamn thing forth, no. And I'm sticking by it this time. You will never see me waste any more of my life on the Human Centipede series, because you know what, guys? I have already had to sit through 2 of them, and there was barely a single enjoyable moment out of it, except noticing that, again, he knows how to make films look good. Unfortunately, no matter how much polish you put on a fucking turd, it's still going to stink. And that's something else that sort of shows up in these fucking movies. My God, guys, I'm going to just step away from this for just a moment because I just want to reiterate again. This is my 200th episode, and I just want to thank you guys for helping me get this far. I really wish that episode 200 was a much better movie, but then again, apparently a lot of you guys enjoy it when I basically stumble into gigantic piles of shit like this. So hopefully this was at least entertaining for you guys. It certainly wasn't for me. So, yeah, I am gonna go watch a good movie. Like, I know, I do have a Serbian film on fucking Blu-ray. I'm gonna go watch that and wash the horrific taste of this shit from my mouth. So, guys, With that, we come to the close of the 200th reaction and review. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and I will see you all in the near future. Peace.